What is up, everybody? Matt Modak here to give you my favorite NBA player prop picks. We're talking the NBA Christmas betting slate. We got 5 games on tap for Christmas. Always a great NBA day, Christmas is. So hopefully it's a great betting day for us as well. 5 games. I'm going to have one pick for you guys to lock in each game, including one that is being laddered. So technically 6 total bets, backing 5 players. As always, remember to like the video, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Admittedly, this NBA season has not gone nearly as well as last year. Not very pleased with this season on the whole, down over 3 units on the year. Feels like every time we start getting on a run, we have an even worse down streak. That's kind of how this season has gone on. You know, we were able to be up on the year, then we had a brutal week that we're still trying to climb out of. So hopefully we have a really good Christmas. That'll bring us to the profit on the year. So hopefully that happens. And let's get into it. So I'm just going to go in order of the games being played. So the first game is the Spurs versus Knicks game. And I'm going to go with Jalen Brunson, 8+ assists, plus 105 odds at FanDuel. I love this for 2 reasons. It's a beautiful fade of recent results type of play, and it's a really, really good matchup against the Spurs for point guard point props. Brunson, he's actually missed this in 4 straight games, so that's the fade recent results type of part, but he had cashed it 3 straight prior to that. So missed it in 4 straight, then had cashed it in 3 straight. Kind of the nature, the highs and lows, the peaks and valleys of how an NBA season typically goes, but it's not like he's consistently been under this entire season or anything like that. And if you look at the 4 games in which he went under his last 4, twice in that 4-game stretch, he had exactly 7 assists. So when you're 1 assist away from your prop, that's a hit or miss. That's a one player makes a shot differently or misses a shot differently. So whenever people, like I see them come close recently, it always makes me feel a little bit better, even though he has gone under in 4 straight games. But the reason why this is a play is because of the matchup. I absolutely love targeting the Spurs for point guard assist props. We were on a Trae Young assist prop against the Spurs last week. He had 16 assists in that game. If you look at the entire season, the numbers don't tell you that the Spurs are a juicy matchup for point guard assist props. It's been much more of a recent thing, and it was a thing last year as well. So the guess is kind of after a little bit of a wonky year, things have normalized based on how the Spurs play defense. Over the last month, the Spurs have allowed the 4th most assists per game to point guards. And per Props Madness, sign up using promo code MODI if you want to support the channel and check out an awesome source. Per Props Madness, 4 of the last 5 point guards against the Spurs with a similar playmaking style to Jalen Brunson, 4 of the 5 have hit their assist prop over against the Spurs. That includes De'Aaron Fox, who did it in 2 games against the Spurs. Both times he got to 8 assists. Both times his over-under was 5.5. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander got to 8 assists. His over-under was also 5.5. And Tyrese Maxiell did the same exact thing. His last game was also the Spurs' most recent game. Maxey went over. I think he got 8 assists. His over-under, again, was 5.5. Overall, taking an even further step back, 10 of 12 point guards have hit their point guard assist prop over against the Spurs. And when you look into it, it makes sense why there's such a good matchup for Jalen Brunson, specifically his assist prop. The Spurs allow the 3rd most assists per game. The 3rd most points per game. Spurs allow the 3rd most points per game to pick and roll rollmen, and Brunson obviously runs the most pick and roll on the Knicks. He actually runs the 9th most in the entire NBA. So he's going to spam pick and roll with Karl Anthony Towns. I also think it's a good matchup for Karl Anthony Towns points, but I like it better for Jalen Brunson assists, which is why that's what we're going with. But if you wanted to lock in 2 bets, I'll give it as a lean Karl Anthony Towns points. That's play number 1. Now we're heading to the Timberwolves versus Mavericks game, and this is actually our ladder play as well. So it's an Anthony Edwards first quarter point prop ladder. I'm taking him over 6.5 first quarter points. That's at -110 odds, full unit McSlam on that bad boy. And then I'm going 10+ points for a half unit, plus 290 odds at bet365. Now this one is a little bit different than the typical plays that I give out on my channel. This is not really targeting a juicy matchup by any means. The Mavericks are actually slightly below average matchup for Anthony Edwards points, but instead what we're doing, this is just a straight fade of recent results for Anthony Edwards. He's shot horribly in the last 3 games. In these 3 games, he shot 7 of 16, 6 of 20, and 7 of 20. Not only has he shot bad, Timberwolves have lost all 3 of those games as well. And his scoring has definitely come down at the recently than what it was at the beginning of the year, as the Timberwolves are just going through a horrible offensive funk. But he still hit this in 16 of his last 28 games. The hit rate isn't terrible, and he had just missed it in 2 straight games and then cashed it, the mainline one of 6.5 in his most recent game. So even though he shot horribly on the entire game, he still scored 7 points in the first quarter. And first quarter for him has been streaky. Like, he was really, really hot in the first quarter recently, or excuse me, at the beginning of the year, then went on a cold streak, but he hits it in like 3 to 4 game stretches and then misses it in 3 to 4 game stretches. So the hope here is that we're getting him while he's starting a hot streak after cashing it last game. The minutes is what makes this a little bit scary, especially the latter part, or the latter play, I should say. He will play between 9 and 12 minutes, but haven't really seen a rhyme or reason when it's 9 versus when it's 12. So I can't say exactly how much he's going to play in the first quarter. I can say he's going to play at least 9 minutes, and he also could play the whole first quarter. But in the Christmas game against the Mavericks, it's a big game, team that just bounced them in the playoffs last year. It would not be a total surprise if he did play 12 minutes, which is something that he does do and has done in the last 10 games. That part's definitely a projection, though. Either way, he shot horribly the last 3 games. Now, again, he's going up against the team that bounced him in the playoffs last year. The same team, this Mavericks team, earlier this year, Anthony Edwards hung 37 points on them. He scored 24 points in the first quarter. So the expectation is that after 3 down games in a row where the Timberwolves lost all 3 games, he comes out swinging in this one and just has positive regression in the shooting department in this one as well. So I think he starts hot in this one, hopefully cashing both plays, the ladder and the mainline one. That's game number 2. Now let's head over to the third game, 76ers versus Celtics. Tyrese Maxiell, 25 plus points, plus 135 odds at Bet365. So for Anthony Edwards, was a straight fade of recent results. Not quite so much with this Tyrese Maxiell play. Instead, we're targeting a hot player in Tyrese Maxiell who's been playing really well, and we're betting on him to stay hot in this matchup against the Celtics. Maxiell has long been a streaky shooter, basically like since his second year in the NBA. He's been a streaky shooter, streaky scorer in general. So the hope here is that we're catching him also kind of like Anthony Edwards in the first quarter specifically, catching him in the middle of a hot streak. Maxiell has scored 25 or more points in 3 of his last 4 games. Actually got to 30 plus points in 2 of those games as well, including the most recent game against the Spurs where Maxiell was awesome in that game. He scored 32 points, had the game clinching 3-pointer with like 30 seconds left in that game. He was awesome in that game. And Maxiell, he hasn't played a ton with Embiid, obviously, this year. He's only played like 4 real games with Embiid. One game he only played 20 minutes. It was his first game back from a hamstring injury. But he's gone over in 2 of the 4 games. Scored about 25 points per game in those 4 games. 2 he went under. He still had 22 and 23 points, so it wasn't like he just didn't do anything. And Maxiell has a type of scoring profile that you want to target against the Celtics. The Celtics can be had by guys like Maxiell who can run pick and roll, who can run isolation plays, and who can pull up from deep. The Celtics have the 2nd most points per game to pick and roll ball handlers, the 3rd most points per game via isolation. Maxiell obviously scores the most points on the Sixers, both out of the pick and roll and out of isolation, but he runs the 8th most pick and rolls in the entire NBA, and the 9th most possessions via isolating in the entire NBA as well. So top 9 in both, top 8 as the pick and roll ball handler. And another point in favor of Maxiell is over the last 10 games, the Celtics have allowed the 3rd most made pull-up 3-pointers. In the NBA, they've allowed the 5th most attempted pull-up 3-pointers as well. Again, last 10 games. Maxiell takes the 6th most pull-up 3-pointers in the entire NBA. It's not a very high number for Maxiell. I'm confident he's going to get us to 25 points in this one. That's play number 3. That's what we're looking for, 3. Next up, the 4th game is the Lakers versus Warriors, and I'm taking Dennis Schroeder over 4.5 assists. This is at best offered at plus 110 odds at Hard Rock, or you can get it at plus 105 odds at DraftKings if you're in a state where you can't use Hard Rock. So Schroeder's only played in 3 games with the Warriors. It's a small sample size. We don't know 100% what his role is going to be between him and Steph and all that stuff. I'm not going to pretend that he's going to be the main point guard, the main guy handling playmaking duties. He's definitely going to split that with Steph. And you look at the 3 games that he's played with the Warriors, he's hit 5 assists in only 1 of the 3, but in the 2 games that he missed, he had 9 and he had 10 potential assists. For someone only needing to get to 5 actual assists, I'm good with 9 and 10 potential assists. And the number, his minutes being played is going up as well. Like, he only played 22 minutes in the first game with the Warriors, then went up to 29 and 30. So if he's getting closer to 30 minutes, obviously that's just going to help with stat accumulation. And the whole reason why we're on this play is because the number is as low as it is. Like, yeah, he's going to split playing making duties with Steph. We're only asking him to get to 5 assists as opposed to 8 assists. And the Lakers are absolutely a team you want to target for point guard assist props. I've been talking about it a lot recently and on the entire year. But if we're trusting Props Madness's data, who I am always going to trust, the Lakers are a much better matchup for Schroeder's playmaking style as opposed to Steph Curry. Again, per Props Madness, only 2 of 9 players with Steph Curry's playmaking style have hit their assist prop over against the Lakers. And that's funny because if you just want to look at point guard assist props, the Lakers have allowed the 5th most to point guards on the entire season and the 4th most over the last month. So you would figure they'd be a good matchup, not in the way that Steph play makes. And obviously, the Schroeder, the Steph Curry playmaking style might change after the trade. So again, we don't have a ton of data to go off of, but what I do know is that Lakers are a great matchup for point guard assist props, and Schroeder, it's not a super high number for someone that's probably going to split playmaking duty or handle all of it when Steph's on the bench. And after getting, 10, 9, 10 potential assists in the first 3 games with the team, I think getting him to 5 is a very reasonable number. I like it. And then our last pick for the last game, Nuggets versus Suns. Jamal Murray over 3.5 rebounds, -105 odds at DraftKings. So this one, last play, system play. Point guard rebound props against the Suns. Now, we did just get burned by a point guard rebound prop last time we took it. Hey, it's Christmas season. It's the season of forgiving. And one prop going under doesn't just completely take away something being a good matchup. Per props.cash, the Suns have allowed the 2nd most rebounds per game to point guards. Per outlier.bet, they've allowed the 4th most rebounds per game to point guards. Either way, a good matchup. And to get even more detailed than that, per Props Madness, 5 of 9 point guards with Murray's rebounding profile have hit their rebound prop over against the Suns by a little bit over 1 rebound over their over-under. But that does include 2 straight that have gone under. Includes Cade Cunningham, who needed to get to 7 rebounds, and he only had 1. So he's really juicing the numbers to be lower than what they really are. Like the median makes it look a lot better. And 2 straight have gone under, which means that it was 5 of 7 until recently. And again, I'm not going to be scared off by 2 players in a row going under, while the matchup theoretically still should be very good. The reason why the matchup should be very good is due to how many how many jump shots the Suns take. Jump shots lead to more rebounds to guards as opposed to centers. The farther away the ball is shot from, the farther it leaves off the rim if it misses, which leads to more rebounding opportunities to point guards, which is why the Suns are such a good matchup for point guard rebound props. To give you context, the Suns have taken the fewest number of shots within 5 feet from the basket, both on the entire season and over the last 10 games as well. Even with no Devin Booker, they're still going to be shooting a ton of jump shots. That's going to lead to a ton of rebound opportunities for guards. And 4 rebounds is not that big of a number. Murray has hit 4 rebounds in 13 of 21 games this year, so well over half the time he's getting to 4 rebounds. And he has not yet played the Suns this year. Last year he played the Suns 1 time. He had 7 rebounds in that game. We just need him to get to 4 tonight to cash this bad boy out. Very confident that he does. And that's all we got. I appreciate everybody for watching. Make sure to like the video, comment, subscribe. As I mentioned, make sure to check out the links both in the description as well as the pinned comment. If you want to support the channel by checking out Props Madness and Outlier.bet, 2 sources that I use. Either way, I appreciate everybody for watching. Hope you all have a great Christmas and have a good one.